Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. And we're back in the studio with our good friend, Mr. Coach Greg Friend.
You guys rehearsed that, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
No, we didn't. No. We just got off the highway and we're just giddy right now.
Okay.
But welcome to RefTime. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've got to tell you this. I'm flattered that you guys asked me to be on. I really am. I'm flattered.
Oh. Good. Well, we're flattered that you're flattered to be here.
We're excited that you took the time to come on.
So, because you've always been a coach that we have respected and liked as a person. So that's a double good whammy.
Wow.
You know, I actually got to actually work with him as an assistant.
You were my assistant coach, my freshman coach when I was at Northside. Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
how far
fast.
back we go.
Yeah.
That was probably 2005, 6, somewhere in there.
Yep. It would have been 2005 because that was the year we got married.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then since you guys have a past, I'll just sit here and listen to the interview. Then I'll learn. I'll just take notes and learn.
I might not learn much.
I was going to say, I highly doubt he's just going to sit there quietly and not ask any questions.
I can do it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving right along.
We'll move right along.
Okay.
So obviously, you're a coach. You've never been an official, right?
I have. As a matter of fact, this is why I wanted to tell you guys.
Okay.
Myself, and you'll know this guy that I refereed with, Jay Larman.
Yes.
We were referees in the Y-Ball League for probably about 6 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We enjoyed it. Yeah, we enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah.
Now the
Until we
Y-Ball
got
League.
threatened.
What age level?
It was probably 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, somewhere in there. Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
And you got threatened?
We did, yeah. That was the last year we did it. This guy really threatened us bad, where he had to be escorted out.
Really?
Yeah. I stopped the game and had him escorted out. Yeah.
What's so ironic is in our ref classes and when we're having general conversation with people, we'll ask them, what do you think is the worst level to officiate? Because we've done everything from little kids all the way up to semi-pro. What would you say is the worst level?
Little kids. I'd say 3rd, 4th grade.
Exactly.
Parents are crazy.
We always say 3rd
grandparents.
Yeah.
Parents and grandparents are the worst.
3rd through 6th grade.
Grade.
Parents and grandparents are the worst. Was this guy a parent or a grandparent?
He was a parent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And what was he so upset about?
He didn't like one of the calls. And
one of the calls.
Yeah, one of the calls. Yep. And he just lost
3rd grade.
His mind. Yeah. Lost his mind.
Wow. And this was back in when?
Oh, jeez. I'm going to say 1990, 90, 91, 92, somewhere in there, because, I wasn't married yet, so, yeah.
Wow.
And you started working with Jay. Well, that might have been your first mistake.
It was, yeah.
Kidding,
and
Jay.
He knows
Kidding,
that.
Jay.
He knows
I love
that.
you.
You know, when we have Jay on, he's going to get back at you.
I know.
Him and I go way back to junior high grade school. So we've been great friends for all those years. So anytime that he did a game of ours, I was always on his butt all the time, just to do it. Just to do it.
I seem to remember the very first time I officiated you. You got on my last dang nerve. I can't remember what it was, but I did not like him as a coach when I first met him.
Oh.
Yeah, I was. One of the things that I'll do is that I'll voice my opinion.
Yes, you do.
But if I was wrong, I would be the first to call you over and say, you know what, you were right.
But you never figure out you're wrong until the next day, Greg. Let's keep it real. When we're in the heat of the game.
I got to do it during the game because I'll forget about it and I won't call you back.
But you know what? In all honesty, as I remember, I didn't care for you as a coach because you were so animated. But
and that may have been early on.
That's called, you know what that's called? It's called passion.
Passion, intensity.
It is.
Yeah, intensity and passion.
But I have to back that up and say that I was the kind of official when I was young where I didn't like to be challenged.
Called out.
I didn't like people to challenge me.
I get that.
And I probably deserved it because I didn't know what I was doing.
Most young officials don't like to be called out.
Right.
Like we don't want to, because we already feel like everybody's watching us and judging us. And
But here's my thought on that though is that I tried not to do that very often because I wanted to divert most of my attention to coaching my team,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I always tried to be.
Right,
You know,
right.
you guys are calling the game, and I'm coaching my team. If I spend all my time complaining about calls and all that stuff, well, then we're not going to get anything accomplished.
I'm
as a
sorry, could you
basketball team.
repeat that for those coaches that didn't hear that?
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah.
But
yeah,
I think coaches probably, and I don't know, I've never been a coach, well, except for a short period of time.
yeah, we had to get him out of
I
that.
was a coach for about, hour and a half maybe?
Yeah, way too
Seriously.
long.
Then that's it, right?
Yeah,
way
that was
too
it.
long.
But I think coaches probably have that mindset at first at the
Yeah.
beginning of the game, and then their emotions take over, and I think it's the same with officials. We have the mindset, I'm going to be professional. I had problems or issues with this coach before. I'm going to keep it professional, and then our emotions take over.
Sure.
It's an emotional game.
It
It's,
Yeah,
really is.
It is.
But you got to be mature about it too.
Right.
You know,
It's-
both sides. You
It's
know,
easy to say that before and after the game.
Right.
During the
been
game,
yeah. Oh, I know. Believe me, I know. I know. You've seen me in action. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well-
you thought I was going to stroke out there for a while.
I did. I think I said
I was
that to
60
you.
years old. I was 61 years old when that was going
That's
on.
when you were at Snider, wasn't
Mhm.
it? And I said to you, I said, man, I think you're going to get a stroke out here. And he looked at me, no, I'm fine. And he went back to yelling. I'm like, let me get away from him because I don't want to contribute to the heart attack that's about to take place.
Yeah.
So now you've coached, because you and I coached early on at Northside, and then you've moved around. You went to Snider at one point.
Right. I went.
Indiana Tech.
I went to from Northside. I was a head coach there for 1 year, and then Bishop Luers came open, and I went to Bishop Luers for a couple years, and that wasn't the best experience for me in reference as being a coach.
Okay.
As far as coaching against different players, it was great. Kelly Ferris, that went on and won 4 national championships with UConn. I coached against her. Skylar Diggins, 2 years when she was at South Bend, Washington. I got to coach against her. I coached 3 Division I basketball players in those 2 years. So, you know, it was good experience in that way. But there was other things internally that wasn't the best, you know, that didn't work out well. So, but then I went from there, and then I went to just back to AAU for a while, and then Jessie Biggs, who's still there at Indiana Tech, her and I came in at the same time at Indiana Tech, and then we worked together for 4 years. And I got kind of tired of the traveling and that sort of thing, and the pay wasn't the greatest either. And I never really cared too much about the pay, but it got to me, and I wanted to be a head coach again, and she knew that. I wanted to be, so Snider opened up, and I went to Snider. So, and had a blast there. I had a good time there. Coached there 2 years, and then went back to AAU, and then Dave Miller says, "Hey, I got an opening here," and I'll tell you, we had the best time ever in the 3.
And that was at Concordia?
At Concordia. That was my alma mater. That's why I went to school, was Concordia.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I went. So it kind of was nice that I finished there, but Dave and I have become really decent friends right now. And when I was coaching against him, I really thought he was quirky and weird and all that. But, man, you get to know the other side of him. He is just really a good dude.
And he's very passionate.
Very passionate.
And that's probably why he had such a good record.
Exactly. And
So how long were you at Snider? I mean, at Concordia?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good old Concordia. Yep, 3 years.
Was that your last coaching stint?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you went Northside with your first one.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop Luers.
Yep.
AAU.
Yep.
Indiana Tech
Yep.
for 4 years. Snider for 2 years. AAU again.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you at AAU again?
Oh, I don't know.
2 years.
Maybe a year or two, yeah.
1 or 2.
Yeah. Why
And
you
then the
keep
first time you were there
He
for
just writes notes.
first time you were there for AAU.
Which-
AAU, your first stint with AAU, how many years?
My very first time?
Yeah, right after Luers.
Oh, after Luers, I think about a year or two, something like that. I first started AAU, coaching AAU back in 05, 06 when I was still at Northside.
Oh.
And back then, just to give you a little quick history, AAU, we had to travel because there was no events close around.
That was new. AAU was kind of new then.
You wouldn't believe how saturated it is now.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
my
Yeah,
Oh, it's
it's
crazy.
crazy now.
Goodness.
Yeah.
But now, so we had to travel to Texas, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. We traveled everywhere because you had to get to these events, and you wanted to play the best. And we had some really good players. And so that's how we started. And now I've been coaching it now. Last year was my first year coming back after 12 years coaching AAU.
Oh, you're in AAU again?
Yeah,
now?
I coached last year and I'll be coaching again this year.
Okay.
And I enjoy I still got to do it, yeah. And so I still got a passion of teaching the game. I do, and I can't get rid of that.
Now, are you coaching boys or girls?
Girls,
okay.
yeah.
Because I know that's what you primarily. That's what you've always coached, right?
You've
girls?
always preferred girls.
Yeah. After I left Snider, I almost coached boys. There was an opening at Canterbury, and I thought, I might put in for that, and I never did. But
so one question I have for you on AAU coaching, because we had Tim Ranking on, and he said something. He's one of my favorite coaches too. But he said something really intense. He said the AAU circuit or the AAU world has, in his opinion, almost destroyed high school basketball. Maybe those weren't his exact words, but he was saying because AAU. He was giving an example of one player he had who was a pretty good guard, and he coaches now. And he said that the people around him was telling him how good he was as a scorer. But what he saw in the kid was the ability to direct the team as a floor captain, move people around and get people in the scoring position, direct the squad. But in his mind and from the people in his world, they were saying, "Oh, you can score." And Tim was telling him, "You can be the playmaker and score when necessary." But
right.
And he said that AAU feeding that belief that he could score messed him up for school ball.
Yeah, it's become a business,
Very much so.
It's become a business, and so I think there's a couple good salesmen out there right now that are doing that locally, and they have to keep their programs going, and sometimes that sale is an oversale, I call it, and so the expectations of some of these kids and parents now, because you're telling the parents the same thing.
Yes, sir.
That now their expectations are this high, and so if you're not getting what they think they should be getting, the parents and the player, well then you're not going to win. So they have to do that. They have to, but then yet they have to perform too. But I think sometimes it's an oversell. I think it really is. I coach kids. The kids I'm coaching now are 25s. They're going to be graduating seniors next year, and there's probably maybe 2 kids on that team that might play NAI. The rest of them will play Division III, and I love it. I love it.
Why?
Because I just feel like that's kind of a slap in the face, Division III and NAI. Because of AAU has promoted so much of Division I, and if you don't play Division I, then you're not a good basketball player. And so I think that's why I like teaching those kids, and they listen, they learn, and there's been a lot of Division I kids that I've coached that I call them, they were prima donnas, and they're really hard to coach. They're real hard to coach, and so but these kids, they're like a sponge. They'll just listen to you and absorb everything. So
it kind of reminds me of our son. We just got back from visiting him, and we were at the what was that? The
Big Ten
tournament. And we were talking about this a little bit. Of course, our son played D1, and I'm looking at where he is in life now compared to a lot of kids that want to go D1. And I've had parents approach me and say, "Hey, how'd you do it?" And I'm looking at them going, "There was no design to it.
No.
It just happened the way it happened." But he was talking about a lot of these kids that are playing D1, and he's looking at them. And of course, he's a pro scout now, so he's looking at these kids, and he's going, Yeah, at the tournament, I was watching these 2 teams, and I saw one kid that I think he has NBA potential. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And the number of people that play D1 that think they're going to go D1, go NBA, and he just laughs. He goes, people don't get it.
It's still that way. And I've only coached girls, so I watch the girls' programs the most. And there's a lot of them out there that I'm going, no way. And then I'm asking, the coach, is this player going to put you over the top? Is this the kind of player, your record's not the greatest, but you're recruiting this player. Is this player really going to put you over the top and what you really need?
Are you talking about college coaches?
I'm talking about college coaches.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at these high school kids and saying, and they're recruiting them and bringing them in, and I just don't get it. And I think, there's a lot of pressure up there. I mean, there's a lot of pressure in college coaching. There really is. You
have to win.
It's their job.
You have to win,
or they get fired.
Or anymore, you have to win.
Yeah.
You have to win.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I don't think that AAU has. When I say saturation, they're bringing in anybody, and they're given this misconception that their daughter, I'm using girls now, their daughter is going to be able to play at the next level. And we played last year, and I'm going, oh my goodness. There's kids that couldn't dribble, pass, couldn't even hit the rim, couldn't shoot. I mean, it's just pitiful.
Now let me ask you on the other end. Defensively.
Yes.
Girls.
Yes.
Do you think that you've got some good defenders out there?
Yes, I got one that's really a good defender.
And overall, do you think girls are able to, I shouldn't say able, but do you think girls are more focused on defense than boys? Because boys are all this, all this isolation stuff, and everybody wants to score and dunk on two people.
Right.
Girls, I think, when I ref girls basketball, it's still more fundamentally strong than boys, but I think it's changing. Do you think girls overall are playing better defense than boys do in general?
It depends on who's teaching them, and I hate to say that, but if you're playing zone in high school, you're not really teaching kids how to play half-court defense, because if you've never taught them man-to-man principles, they don't know how to play zone. And so when I see that, I kind of get a little... So these kids that have played zone, I watch their teams play, they come into me, and we're playing man-to-man, and we're just going through drills. They're huffing and puffing because now they're moving. They got to move. They can't just stand in a spot and cover an area. So they got to move. So, and they don't know how to play. They don't know rotations. They don't know... But playing, here's what I tell my girls, even though they're only going to maybe play Division III and AAU, which is great, and I like that. I shouldn't say only. And if you can't guard, you can't play at the next level. Right. I tell them that you can't.
Right.
You can't play Division III.
Do they believe you?
I think they're starting.
Right.
I think they're starting to. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's real.
It is real.
And coming up, I wasn't a scorer. I had no choice but to play defense. So I learned how to play defense out of necessity. I think Reggie did too, and our daughter. But, when we ref kids, and then they get mad because we call a foul, and I'm looking at them going, I don't say it, but I'm thinking in my mind, that's horrible defense. You were in terrible position. You had your back to the player, and then you think I'm not going to call that? And of course they don't know the rules, but I'm like, you're not even guarding the person. That's why you have 4 fouls.
There's a lot of good athletes out there, female and male, that are so athletic that they haven't been taught how to play defense. And if you could get them up there and know how to get in somebody's grill and know how to, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's...
And there are some good coaches around that are doing that.
Yeah,
there
is
Reggie
still
at Snider, he's teaching defense.
Oh, yeah.
They are all over those
They are
girls.
all up in them.
Yeah.
What are some other high schools in the area that are teaching good D? Concordia? Does Concordia play good D, you think, as a coach?
No.
No. Well, I'm saying as a coach and you as a ref.
They can see you.
What do you think? Do you think the games you've seen?
You know what? Did I even have Concordia this year?
Well, I had the boys, and I have to say the boys...
The boys do. You know why I can say the boys do? Because Greg Rayberg was one of my assistant coaches, and he was there at Northside, and he's been with me. And him and I talk defense. He calls me up the other day. He says, "Can you believe Wisconsin blew out 91 points? They didn't play good defense." Okay. So him and I are big
defensive coach.
Him and I are big defensive guys, And so he's got the boys playing really well.
That's a question I'm thinking about now. The teams I've refed in Fort Wayne, which ones are good defenders? I know because I traveled a lot this year, and I was in South Bend quite a bit, and the South Bend boys team that I can't remember the name of the school. They didn't play good defense, in my opinion. Coach might not like that. He probably would agree, actually. Most of the girls' teams in the area, I'm thinking, who plays good defense?
Norwell plays really good defense.
Yeah, Norwell plays really good defense.
Yeah, they do. They play a 1-3-1 trap, and they trap out of that. Yeah,
but again, it's a zone.
It is a zone. Yeah, again, and that works in high school girls basketball. That'll work.
It does.
But if you want your kids to get to the next level and know how to play the game, you must teach them man-to-man principles. You have to.
But the point on that is how many kids are really going to... Reggie and I were talking about that this weekend. How many kids are going to play on the next level? How many are interested? Most girls I'll ask, they're not even interested.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to say is, Reggie made a comment. He's like, there's 30 NBA teams, And on those 30 NBA teams, there is typically one, maybe two, that are the team.
Mm-hmm. They're the go-to.
They're the go-to players.
They're what we call the hamburger.
So 30 teams, 30 to 60 individuals that are stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yet our society is telling our third graders, oh, you're going to be the next LeBron James.
Right.
Oh, you're going to be the next Steph Curry.
Right.
No, you're not.
Right.
And people
the
forget
chances
about
of you making it there. And then one of the things that we were talking about was if you can be that help, if you can be that person that, can be that help maker.
Because we have hamburgers and then we have condiment players. That's
French fries.
French fries. That's what kind of what we say. We have the hamburger, then we have the condiments.
So LeBron is a hamburger, right?
And back in my day, NBA, who was and Reggie, who was the star condiment player? Dennis Rodman, star condiment player, and he played his role.
If you can come in and make something happen on the defensive end, and you can get that ball and push that ball up to LeBron James, LeBron can go up and do his little dunk, whatever he's going to do.
Because LeBron can't do it without the other people supporting.
Right.
You got to have those supportive players. That's the word I wanted. You got to have those support players.
Yep.
And if
role players.
If you can come in and be a support player or a role player, then you can make it. But if you think you're going to be the next LeBron James,
but everybody, Scottie Pippen, excellent role player.
Yeah,
absolutely. But everybody wants to be the star. And I'd never heard anybody say that until Reggie told us that. And he was like, this is coming from an NBA scout.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, there is one star on every team. He goes, our star is Wembanyama.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's with Reggie with the Spurs. He said, Wembanyama's our guy. He goes, anybody coming in thinking they're going to be the go-to person, they're not going to last.
Yeah.
He's our guy. We pay him to be our guy. Everybody
and so
on the
then
team
they build
knows
around him.
Yeah, he said everybody builds around him.
And if you can't come in and be part of that,
then you can't come in.
Then you can't come in. So, I think if we were to put those realities out there for the kids and be like, you will probably not be the next LeBron, but you could be that support player, and still make millions of dollars.
Now, here's my question: is it the same in the women's side? I wonder, the WNBA.
I don't know.
Because they have, I'm telling you, women have a completely different set of politics.
Yeah.
We as officials, we were told a few years ago at a college camp that when you go do women's college, which is what we do, they said you cannot do men's and women's. That's what they told us.
Why?
Because the women were, at that time, this had to be 10 to 15 years ago, the women were building their own culture. We have different uniforms. We have different rules. We have different politics. Everything's different on the women's side of college. So if you're
interesting.
Yeah, and they said the women's side is the one that was most focused on it, not the men's. Men's didn't care. But if the women assigners saw you doing a men's game, you would no longer be doing women's side.
Wow.
They were saying,
this is
crazy.
They want you to decide. So
no,
if
they were saying this is what we're going to do.
So you're either going to stick with the women's side or you're going to try to get on the men's side.
Wow.
The men didn't really care, but the women are going, we are establishing our own
because
culture.
The rules are different. So
and
they
the uniforms, everything's different.
They don't want you coming out to a women's game and doing men's mechanics.
Yep.
Wow.
So you have to stay focused.
So is that why Enterline stayed with the women for so long then?
Yeah. It was his career.
Yeah.
And if he had chosen to go men, the women wouldn't have been there. And the men's side is a lot more competitive. Women's is, I think it's a little more open, but it's very competitive too.
It's still competitive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially with what we've seen lately in the last 2 years with women's college.
Right.
I mean, that's changed everything.
Right.
Now you got the women making signs at each other and, getting in each other's head, unsporting conduct, what we call unsporting conduct.
Flying out of the
but it's because the sensationalism has hit the women's side.
It has,
and people love it.
Yeah.
Fans love it.
I love it because I'm a big women promoter when it comes to basketball. I'm just all about women's basketball. So, that's just me.
Now, did you coach any other sports besides basketball?
Nope. Golf. I take it back. Golf. I coached golf at Northside. Yeah.
For how long?
Okay.
Oh, 2 years. I think it was.
Are you?
I'm a golfer.
You're a golfer yourself? Very competitive. Well, I don't know why I asked that. You're competitive in everything.
Since 9 years old, my brother taught me how to play golf at 9 years old. Yeah.
You're probably competitive at dog walking.
We went. I got to tell you the story. We went and picked up pickleball. Okay, my wife and I. So we go out to Ace. So the lady's trying to teach us how to play. And she's got another group there with us. And she kept whispering to my wife. She goes, "Will you tell him to slow down?" She says, "I can't." She said, "He ain't going to slow down. He's not going to slow down. No, he's not going to slow down."
So he's got one button on
That's
or off.
That's it. Yes, yeah. But it's catching up to me. Yeah.
So what kind of exercises do you do personally? You're a runner?
I was a runner for 30 years. I always tell Tanya this, but now I'm power walking.
Wow.
I power walk maybe 4 or 5 days a week.
Power walking is no joke.
No, I get into about the 13-minute miles power walking, which is good for me. And I was telling her, it doesn't
You
even...
can power walk in a mile in 13 minutes?
About 13 and a half, 13:30. Today I did it in about 13:30.
How long did it take you to work up to that, Greg?
Not very long.
He was a runner.
I was a runner, yeah. I can't
imagine walking a mile in 13 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're cranking. You know,
I remember
cranking.
talking to a power walker out at Foster Park.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was lapping people, and he would just lean into it. He'd lean forward.
Yeah, he's moving.
Oh,
yeah, you're
he's
moving.
Focused.
And you gotta go. You just go. You just get out and go.
You can build a pretty good sweat doing a power walk.
I'm soaked when I get back.
Yeah.
So do you do it outside or
I do it
okay.
outside. Yeah, I tried to.
It's too cold.
Now I'll go with my wife. I'll go with my wife out to the mall with what we call the old people, and so we'll walk out there at the mall in the mornings. And we'll go about 3 miles, and I can't go. I can't go.
Do you
my
lap
speed.
her?
No, I can't go that speed. I gotta go her speed. So, and she knows that. She knows. She knows. She goes, "Will you slow down?" I said, "Okay." Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So
well,
that's
her
kind of.
legs are a little shorter too.
They
I mean,
are.
Come on
yeah,
now.
they
I mean, that's
are,
like
yeah.
me trying to walk with him. His legs
I'm
are.
trying to keep up with her usually.
Yeah.
Keeping it
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
So-
But before we go on, I want to say this about you guys, okay? Because I think this needs to be said. And I thought about this. You know what you guys do to promote kids athletics, young people in Fort Wayne is amazing, and you should be commended for that.
Thank you.
I really do. I really mean it. And I've known you and of course I've known you too. And what you guys do and who you are personally is just absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to know both of you. I really mean that from the
Thank you.
bottom of my heart.
Thank
I
you.
mean
Appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
guess we've traded compliments now. So
Yeah. And I didn't say that just because you. I mean that. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we ready to ask him questions now?
Okay,
Now he's in a
yeah.
nice mood, ready to tear him down now.
Well, we'll just
Yeah.
ask one question.
No, you
No,
can
I got
ask me
some
as
more.
many as you like.
Because he already told us for the show. If I don't know, I'm just going to say I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. First question. So we had one of our officials called us up and asked us this today because he had a game yesterday, and he said that he was not the official that should have made the call, but he came in and made the call because the other official either didn't see it or didn't realize what had happened or whatever. So he was asking us, did I get it wrong? Team A scores a basket. Okay. So Team B is taking the ball out of bounds. So Team B is going to inbound the ball, and when she goes to inbound it, she throws the ball, and it hits the bottom part of the backboard and bounces in. What do you have? Anything?
It's play.
It's play on?
It's got to hit the back of the backboard. It's got to hit the actual back of it, not underneath it.
So my question is, so it hit underneath it. Okay. And you're saying play on. So
that would be my call.
Okay. So my question to you is,
But I don't know anything. So.
why would you come to the conclusion that you'd play on? Not that you're wrong, but why would you come to that conclusion?
Because it hit the bottom of the backboard.
Okay.
Instead of the actual back of the backboard.
Because if it hits the back of the backboard, it's going to come back and go out of the bounds.
No, the
anyway.
back of the backboard is out of bounds. As
True.
far as what
true.
I'm I don't know if that's true or
No,
not,
that
but that's
is
how
true.
I was taught,
What if it hits the side of the backboard?
The side of the backboard, it's still play.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, but if it hits the top, which is really weird, I think that's out, isn't it?
It used to be.
Yeah, it's not anymore.
The rules have changed. All of those rules have changed. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great point that we're leading to, because a lot of rules have changed
Over the years.
since
See,
many
I don't
people,
know
since
that.
many of us as refs or coaches have played the game, and since we've coached the ref the game. Maybe that call was different 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, and that's what's still stuck in our minds. And
Right.
most fans, that's what's wrong, is they're still stuck in when they played basketball in high school,
Mm-hmm,
and the rules have changed tremendously.
Right.
People don't understand
Sure.
the speed of the game has sped up, so the rule writers have had to write the rules according to the speed of the game.
I mean, the kids are more athletic. They're
Yes.
more agile. They
Absolutely.
can do so many different things, contort their bodies. And I'm like, what are you?
Yeah,
And
sure.
most people that watch the game, coaches, fans, players, we want a faster game. So
Yeah.
the rules are written according to that. So to answer your question,
Well, I will look it up, but I am pretty sure.
we haven't looked it up
I'm
yet.
not going to look it up right
But we're
now.
pretty
But
sure.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that because it was an out of bounds throw in, when you throw the ball in, it can't touch the backboard at all. So I think I would have blown it as a violation because it's on a throw in.
Was this in high school or college?
We're
It was
talking
high
high
school.
school.
Okay.
It
And
was
this
high
was
school.
high school that this ref calls us
Yeah.
on.
And so again, so the guy that he said he called it a violation. He blew his whistle and said it was a violation. I think he is right
And we both
because
said, yeah, we think he's right.
it was an out of bounds play. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So had
Because
it,
they were standing out of bounds and they threw the ball.
yeah.
Right.
Now had it been the player was inbounds and was making a pass and it hits the bottom of the backboard, it's play on
Because it's in
because
play.
it's in play.
Right.
And the backboard is inbounds unless, like you said, behind
Unless
Right.
behind.
or structure holding the backboard. All of that's out.
Okay.
Even if say I shoot the ball and it hits the rim, bounces up and hits the top of the backboard and comes back down, it's legal.
it's
play.
legal now.
Yep.
But
Wow.
if it hits
I
the
would've
top of the backboard and then hits the structure,
You're right. That's
out.
different.
Or
Yeah.
goes
or
behind it.
goes behind it.
Right.
And
That's
a lot of
out.
people get mixed up because
Yeah.
they've seen plays like that old Larry Bird clip where he got
Yeah, where
trapped
he
and he shoots it up
from
behind the
behind.
backboard
Right.
and goes in.
Right.
Yeah, in NBA rules, that's legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, at least it was then.
No, they didn't. They called it off. If
Oh,
that,
did they?
yeah, they didn't give him that. No,
Oh.
they didn't give him that shot. No,
Okay, well,
he
that's
made
good.
it, but they didn't give it to him. Yeah.
Well, because
Okay.
in high school, anything, the dead space behind the backboard is out of bounds.
Right.
And the structure, if it hits that, is out of bounds. And it used to be that the bottom of the backboard was out. I know when I
Yeah.
first started officiating, if the ball hit the bottom of the backboard, it was out.
right.
Now the whole backboard all the way around is in.
You know how we could eliminate not even ever talking about this again? Who's ever coaching that team, tell their player not to take the ball out from behind the back.
Well,
Well, and
that's a
see,
good
that was
point.
the thing because
That's a
it
good
was
point.
after a made basket, and
Yeah.
after a made basket, we
They can-
don't
yeah.
tell the
You can
kids
no,
where
I
to
know
stand,
not
run
you
in.
personally, but the coach.
Right.
You're right.
And so that
Right.
girl went right underneath the basket and went to throw it in. So, and that's that's why we always, when we're training new officials, we always tell them pull the player off to the side. We
Exactly.
don't
Beyond
ever give them
beyond
the
the free
ball
throw line
Right.
side.
under,
Pull
you
it.
know, right below the basket.
'Cause
Never
if they
give
hit
them
the
the ball.
back of the backboard, it's
It's
kind
our-
of our fault.
Yeah,
It's still a violation against the team.
if we're giving them
If
the
you're
ball.
giving them the
Yeah.
ball,
On a
right,
dead- on a
right,
dead ball.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're giving them the ball, go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
So my next question.
Yep.
Last question.
Throw-in spot.
He's got a granddaughter to get to.
Yes,
No, I'm
sir.
good. I'm good at it. I'm still good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, a throw-in.
Yeah.
Let's say that Team A scores, Team B calls a timeout, and then when they come back from the timeout, they still can run. They can
move along
they
the
can still
baseline.
move
Right,
in there.
right.
And as an official, we're going to see them go like this, and that means you
Mhm.
can still move. And I'll say you can move, and they go great. Let's say that they're given the ball. I start my 5-second count. The coach is watching the defense. He calls another timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after the second timeout, they come back. Can the player move, or do they have the spot at that point?
I would say they can still move.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know the answer?
I'd still give him baseline.
I believe that after the second timeout, I have to look it up for sure. I should have the answer, but I
You
don't.
should have that.
I know.
Especially
Well,
if
you
you're
know
going to
what?
ask the
Because
question.
that could be where it was in play for another round, and he had that. He or she had that opportunity to move. Now you called a timeout. Now
I
that
think they
deleted
have the
that,
spot, I'm
eliminated
pretty
that.
sure.
You know, now that I think about that, yeah.
But that wasn't going to be the original question I was going to ask. The original question I was going to ask is on that spot throw-in, can they, what does a spot throw-in move? I mean, what does it really mean? Can they move, or do they have to keep both feet in the position of the
you mean
spot?
after a made basket?
Yeah, let's say after, no, let's not even
Oh.
say after a made basket. Let's
Okay.
say after a violation.
Okay.
And then I say you got the spot. I give the player the ball. can the player move a couple steps, or do they have the
that's
absolute
changed so
spot?
much. I know when I played or
You're
when we
right.
played,
It
we
has
couldn't
changed.
we couldn't move.
Couldn't move at all.
You couldn't move.
So what's
can you
the-
pivot? I don't know. Can you make a pivot?
Why would you pivot out of bounds?
I don't
Greg?
know. I don't
Pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
But I'm
you
at
can
okay.
stand
Let's
and,
say
You
and,
know,
like,
let's
take a
say.
side step.
Yeah, like a sidestep or
So
something.
I'm asking,
Yeah.
can they pivot? Can they
I
move?
would say so.
How far?
I don't know.
Okay, I do know the ruling.
Well,
on
you
this.
can't walk. You can't walk down the. You know, I mean, but you can. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking is because I do know the ruling on that one.
Okay.
So when we say they have the spot, and we don't tell people this because it could become, it's a gray area.
Right.
But it's a rule. So when I say you have the spot, they actually have a 3-foot window that they can stay within. 1 foot has to stay within that 3-foot window. So if 3 feet is about this wide, which it is, they can, if they're standing in the middle, they can step this way.
3 feet or just
No, as long
foot
as
and a half?
as long as that 3-foot window, according
Okay.
to my estimation as an
Okay.
official, long as 1 foot is within that 3-foot window,
is that a square 3 foot?
they can go back as far as
Side
they
to
want.
side.
But
Side to side, just side to
because
side.
because you can go back as far as
You can go back as far as the wall.
the wall.
Yes, as long as you're within that 3-foot window.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in that 3-foot space, all the way back to the end of
Yeah.
let's say they can go back. Let's say the gym
Let's
goes
say-
back 25 feet. She can go back that
Yeah.
far.
Really?
Yeah, as long as she's within that 3-foot window.
I don't know
It's
why she
weird.
would go back that far.
Yeah, I don't either.
I
unless
know,
you're
but
making
she
a-
can legally.
Yeah. Huh.
And see, it's rules like that as officials, we study that kind of stuff.
You have to.
And when
yeah.
people step outside that 3-foot window, and then, sometimes you'll have players, they'll be standing out of bounds, they'll dribble the ball. Okay, they'll go clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are like
Dribble.
double dribble.
Double
Yeah.
dribble.
Or
It's like,
I'm like, how can you double dribble out of
Out of
bounds?
bounds. And people go, well, what's the rule? We don't have time to explain that to
Yeah.
you.
You can
There's no
dribble the ball
violation.
out of bounds.
She can dribble all day because I got a 5-second count.
Right.
She can dribble within that 5-second count and release. Cool, no problem.
Really?
Yeah,
She can dribble out of bounds.
yeah. If she dribbles in bounds
Yeah.
and picks it up
I've
again,
never seen anybody do that, but
I know.
Oh,
We've
probably
seen
because they've been told they can't.
right.
Right.
I've
would
seen
think.
I've
We've
seen
seen
young
it.
kids do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Young kids
Really?
will take
They'll
it.
dribble-
They'll dribble out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't know anything.
Because
they
they don't
don't
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's little
they-
things
So-
like that. And that's
Sure.
another reason that we've seen 3rd through 6th grade parents and grandparents lose their brains is because, number one, they don't know the rules. Number two, their grandkids or their children have never played in organized basketball.
Right.
They don't realize that all contact is not a foul. Just because little Shirley fell down,
And we're not
Yeah.
going to call every
we're
travel
not going to call
Right.
it
and
a
double
travel.
dribble.
Right.
This is not the NBA or the WNBA.
Right. Right.
So people don't understand the culture of the sport. And like I said earlier, basketball is a very emotional sport,
Mhm.
and it's a highly context. It's a high
supposed
context.
to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
And you're supposed to let some
And 3rd
contact
through
go.
6th grade
Absolutely.
should be developmental.
Should be. Say that again.
It should be.
Developmental.
It should
It's
be.
developmental.
You know what? I think that these AAU referees, and I'll end it with this, but these AAU referees, I think they get a lot of bad raps because
Yeah.
the reason I like it so much is because they won't make those calls. They don't make those touch calls and
Right.
all those calls. They let you play and play
Right.
through things, and I love that.
Right.
Personally, that's what I like.
Mhm.
When I left Indiana Tech after 4 years and came back real quick as a head coach at Snider,
Mhm.
I was losing my mind at the beginning because they were calling every little ticky-tack.
Yeah.
Well,
And I wasn't used to it. Now,
Yeah.
not you guys, but,
Right.
it was other
Yeah.
ref. And I said, why are you calling this stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to this.
Right.
well, when they went to the new rule with the 2 hands or the hot touch,
Yeah,
when, all of a
that's
sudden that's
all.
our point of emphasis. And so, we've got to, if you have 2 hands on, you got to get that right away. If you've got the hot touch, you got to, and so we were instructed. And that's another thing that people don't realize as officials, that we are kind of geared or guided towards saying, okay, this is what we're going to call this year. And it's frustrating at times because it's like, man, you want us to make these calls, and now we got to deal with all the backlash from it.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
but it's the IHSAA or the NFHS, and they're telling us to make these, or our association, hey, this is what we're going to call this year. We're going to do it this way. And it's like,
Well, the problem that I see in it is that when we are training people through our training school, we're training people to get trained to pass the IHSAA test, which is written by the NFHS, which writes the rules for the nation. So we're training people under high school rules.
Right.
Then when they get when they pass their exam, then they go and we bring them in to do 3rd through 6th grade level because it's slow enough for them to do it, or AAU because it's easy to get into and it's a good training ground. But the problem is, I think the AAU and all the leagues that are doing things outside the IHSA need to write their own rules. I think they need to write their own rules, because if people are coming in and we're getting trained to do high school rules in an environment where coaches don't want to see us blow high school rules, well, that's kind of that's a mixed message.
Yeah, because a lot of times we'll come in and for AAU tournaments and their leagues and clubs and stuff, they're like, well, we're going by IHSAA rules except for
IHSAA-ish.
da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like, okay, so if you want us to call IHSAA rules, well, now we're making exceptions because uniform numbers are illegal. You've got 133 out there for
that's illegal.
That's an illegal number.
Right, exactly.
If I can't make 5 fingers, if it's anything over 5 fingers, it's illegal.
Exactly.
We've got the wrong color undershirt underneath. And so there's all these rules that people don't realize as IHSA officials. Not supposed to be dunking in warm-ups.
As long as you guys don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
We remember that when we were in Indianapolis, we went down there and did an AAU tournament a few years ago, and we didn't know it, but the guy comes up to us and he says, hey, I just want to talk to you guys. We're like, this is a guy, I guess, who was in charge of the site. And we go, yeah. He goes, well, I got some reports of the way you guys are calling the game. We looked at him.
And this was girls.
Yeah, we looked at each other. It's like, I'm already insulted. I'm like, and I said, are you an official? Well, no. I said, okay, continue. And he says, well, it's just, there's a lot of college scouts here today, and they're here, and college coaches, and they're here to watch these kids play, and you guys are calling it like high school.
Well, they were there to watch one particular player, and we had already called like three fouls on her
in the first half because she kept hitting people.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was nobody near her that we could put the foul on her team. She was just clearly hitting people.
Right.
They want us to let it go because, that was a good steal. Well, yeah, if you count the fact that she took her arm off to hit the ball, I guess it's a good steal.
Yeah.
And we were calling that, and they didn't want us to call it. And I'm going, okay, so you want us to let her play?
Crazy.
But he goes, well, they did come to see her. I said, exactly, what are you asking us to do? Well, I'm just saying, let them play.
Well,
okay,
it sounds
cool.
to me like they're going to scratch her off their list.
Yeah, and
if she's doing that kind of stuff, I don't, I don't want.
Maybe,
maybe. Well,
no, but I think the problem was a lot of the coaches thought we were too tight as officials.
Yeah.
We come all this way to watch this player, and you guys are blowing your whistle. Yeah. Look, sir, nobody told me that I was supposed to be here to take care of this player.
Right.
They just told me to
didn't know
officiate.
I really did, as a coach, I really didn't care as long as you were consistent.
Exactly.
If you called it this way and then please call it the same way in the second half.
Yep.
So I don't have to make if I'm making an adjustment, and let's say you're calling them close, I can tell my kids at halftime, hey, they're calling them a little close. You got to be a little more careful, and then don't come back out and then allow all this other stuff. So it's got to be consistent there.
And I think one thing most people would say about us when we ref together is we are consistent. Mm-hmm. They might say we're a little tight, or maybe we don't take any mess, which we don't, but I'm consistent.
Right.
And I had one coach tell me, he goes, man, you're horrible. I said, but was I horrible on that end too? He goes, yeah, that coach didn't like you either. Well, then I was consistently horrible. I'm good. He looked at me. I said, I'm just keeping it real with you. I said, was I consistently horrible? He goes, yeah, you were. Okay, then. What's the problem?
You want consistency?
I was consistently horrible, but his horrible definition was I was calling it too tight.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And I'm going, I call what I see, coach. I'm not going to let it go just because that's what the crowd wants to see. A foul is a foul is a foul. I don't care what you think. Yeah. And you don't have to hire me back.
I'm sorry that he was your star player.
Yeah. I've been doing this 30 years. I can get work elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're not my only gig in town.
Right.
Well, I guess Tanya's telling me we got to cut it off.
Okay. Well, my granddaughter's just patiently waiting for grandma to come.
And she is a cutie, so
and she's got to drive down to Denver, Indiana.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get excited, crowd. It's Denver, Indiana.
Yes, there is a Denver, Indiana.
It's next to Chile, Mexico, and Logansport, and what else?
Rochester.
Rochester.
It's Rochester.
That's what I said. Rochester.
I got a player on my team from Rochester. Yeah.
Okay. Rochester.
No. Rochester. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Rochester.
Anyway.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Really, again, I'm flattered by this. I really appreciate it a lot. Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I knew we would.
So did I.
I knew we'd have fun.
I always have fun with you guys.
Yeah, you always laid back.
Yeah,
until he's coaching. Go ahead and close this out.
All right,
Tanya.
so we're going to close out with, just check the website, reftrainingschool.com, for upcoming class dates for basketball.
RefTrainingSchool.com.
And or volleyball, if you'd like to get in more information about either one of those. And then also check out our Hoosier3on3.com. We do have a tournament scheduled July 12th. That is a Friday.
Yes, be during the day.
And
so
during
you
the
probably
day
want to
at
get your
Turnstone.
girls at Turnstone. We're going to get your girls out. Any girls that you want.
Okay.
Yep.
Real quick question. Last question.
Sure.
3-on-3 basketball. Do you think it's good for development of players? Yes or no?
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it can be.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on how it's ran. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Cool. I think any kind of development. I can bring 3 kids in and develop them, So, it doesn't have,
Well, here's the thing.
2-on-2, 3-on-3.
Our 3-on-3, no coaching.
Oh.
Well, nope. The kids.
He said, "Oh,
no, forget it then."
No, they get
no coaching. Seriously,
yeah. So
no
our focus is to allow the kids to coach themselves
and develop
themselves, so that they can
figure it out.
Can figure it out.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
can set
That's
up
not a
their
bad
own
idea,
plays.
really.
That's
yeah.
ours.
And let the coaches just kind of come in and just observe them
if they want.
If they want, and so that way they kind of get to see if
different.
these players.
It is.
I kind of like that concept. Yeah, that's nice.
And we give out free Bibles.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Ours is going to be I don't say Christian, I guess, but we kind of dripping Christ on people, so it's a
Good.
different approach.
I think that's awesome.
Family friendly environment.
Family friendly. Who is it? Ice cream.
Bluebell
Ice cream. They come out and give out free ice cream.
Nice.
Yeah, we have.
Where's it at?
Turnstone. Indoors, Turnstone.
Okay, that's
It'll
right
be July 12th.
Okay, that's not too far from me. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we don't do outdoor activities, people. Sorry.
Can't control the weather. Don't do it.
Yeah, you don't do that. No.
So who's your 3-on-3?
Nice. Do it. Yeah.
Hoosier3on3.com.
I like it.
So with that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off, Gary. I keep calling you Gary.
That's
sorry,
my
Greg.
brother's name.
Is it?
Yeah, Gary. Yeah,
oh, but I can't. Does he coach?
No.
Oh.
No, he's just old. That's
Oh.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Gary, it came from your brother Greg that said that. All right.
From the baby brother.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, and we'll be looking
Thank you
forward
so
to seeing
much.
you on the circuit some more.
Yeah,
It
I
was
hope
great
so.
having you.
I appreciate you guys having me.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Enjoyed.
So we'll see you guys on the next RefTime, and until then, have a good one. Thanks again for listening to RefTime, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, RefTime is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit reftrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.